It is from the Advanced Leader Bronze Manual. I did not know that existed. In her 5 to 7 minute speech, Maureen will give her final speech. Again, final speech in a manual we didn't know existed. Complete the Advanced Leader Bronze certification. The topic is from the Toastmaster Leadership Series. She will use a personal situation to discuss the steps of resolving conflict. Please join me in welcoming Maureen.
Thank you, Caroline. Mrs. Foster, this is Olathe South High School, and we're calling about your son, Sam. Okay, great, yes. Your son and 2 of his friends were seen with a gun. What? Sam? And my mind was going a million miles an hour, right? Are you sure it was Sam? It can't be him. What happened? Where was he? When did this happen? All these things were going through my mind. And all I could muster to say was anybody hurt? And then they went on to say they were discovered with a pellet gun. This scenario took 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds, right? It seemed like an eternity to me about this. So it got me to thinking about, well, what happened? Like, how did we get here? So we're going to use this. We're going to use this story. We're going to talk about conflict, right? So we're going to talk about resolving conflict. Use the scenario that I just had. Still gets my blood going when I hear this. But use the scenario. We're going to talk about resolving conflict and how we kind of move through it as a family. So first, I want to introduce you to my son, Sam. This is Sam. He is 16 years old, and he is a junior at Olathe South High School. And he's an introvert. He's got a handful of really good friends. He's kind of quiet, but he loves debate, and he has a well-honed sense of humor. He's a really funny kid. So he and 2 of his friends decided they were going to buy pellet guns. All of them had their own job. They had their own money, so they decided they were going to do this. So keep in mind that they didn't tell the parents either, because they knew what the parents were going to say. But this is what they decided to do, which leads us into what's happening. This is the pellet gun that Sam bought. Oh my God. Very scary to look at. If you know anything about guns and you get close enough, you can tell it's plastic. But if I saw a kid with a gun, emotion's going to take over, and I'm not going to think about whether it's a pellet gun or not. So this is the gun that he had. Now Sam has wanted a pellet gun since he's been a little kid, right? 8 years old, little boy, wants a pellet gun. Not an unusual situation. Used to be BB guns back in the day, but now they can look anywhere from a BB gun to something like this and anything in between. My husband and I have always told him, no, we're not comfortable. We live in town, you know, there's not really a place to shoot it. You might hurt somebody, just not comfortable with it. So we've always just said no, mainly me, just not comfortable with it, don't want it to happen. So he's asked very consistently once or twice a year since then. I'm always like, Sam, we've already discussed it. It's just not gonna happen, right? So don't keep asking, which he still did. So this sets up our conflict. Sam wants a pellet gun, I say no. My husband, I say no, mostly me, but my husband, I say no. So there are 4 reasons why there's conflict. There's contentious personalities, which Sam is a teenage boy, but this is not the reason. He doesn't have a contentious personality. Misunderstanding, differing of opinion, or leadership styles. So in this outline, we have a difference of opinion. He wants one thing, we said no. So back to the story. So once I find out it's a pellet gun, my mind's still going like this. It's like, well, what was he doing? And who saw him? And who reported him? And how did this all come down? And I thought, well, were they at the park like shooting at trees or something very careless like that? Or were they trying to be cool and waving it around or put it in their pants, in their waistband? Like, what were they doing? Well, I found out what they were doing is they were driving in their car to one of their friend's house who had targets at his house, and they were going to shoot targets in the backyard. And one of the kids was in the back putting the pellets in the gun, and in the gun it goes in the handle, so it looks like bullets being put in a gun. And somebody saw them, and I'm gonna guess it had to have been somebody driving, because if you look over and you see 3 teenage boys, and with one that looks like it has a gun, you're gonna freak out, right? So it was reported. So this is the scenario that we have. So there's the conflict, it was reported, the school got involved. So I'll talk about the school stuff in a minute. So let's talk about resolving the conflict. So obviously what my husband and I have been doing was not a good resolution because we were in this situation. But here are 5 methods of conflict resolution. You can ignore it, you can smooth it over, you can force the situation, there's compromise or collaboration. In this case, my husband and I ignored it because we had already addressed it multiple times. It's just not gonna happen, right? Sam decided to force it, which neither one obviously worked. Now, collaboration is where ultimately any conflict needs to get to, whether it's personal or business. Collaboration is what you need to get to. Now, with collaboration, you need to understand the other person's feelings and their point of view and where they're coming with, and I honestly did not do that, right? I had a strong feeling about it. I wasn't listening to him. So, in thinking more about it, Sam is 16 years old now. He's going to be in college in a couple of years. Probably, in hindsight, would have been time for us to come with something a little more collaborative, something that would meet his needs as well as make my husband and I comfortable. So there are things like maybe he could have gotten a pellet gun and we kept it and we only brought it out at certain times, as an example. We have a friend who is an owner of a gun range. There's some options there too. So what do? So that's collaboration. The resolution, the pellet gun, we have taken away from Sam. It's in the safe and it's going to stay there till he's 18 years old. In the meantime, we need to still work through how we're going to resolve this issue. So the whole goal of collaboration is a win-win situation. So in this case, it's not a win-win. In this case right now, it's let's put this up and let's decide how we're going to move forward. So we're still working through it. We're still deciding how we want to handle it. But for the time now, we've had lessons learned for sure in this thing. So in the meantime, while we're waiting to figure out what the full resolution is, I'm going to enjoy these moments with my son, Sam. Thank you.